We will look into the synthesis of aldehydes and ketones. First part we will see aldehydes and ketones separately. The first ways of synthesis of aldehyde is something we have seen before. We can start from alcohols. If I take a 1 degree alcohol, I can convert this to an aldehyde. By simple oxidation, a primary alcohol can give you an aldehyde using Sarret reagent. We have seen this, PCC. We can use Jones reagent, but you have to be very careful because Jones reagent is extremely sensitive. Too much of chromic oxide will actually end up giving you the corresponding acid. This is simple. A 2 degree alcohol is much easier to deal with because I don't have to worry about PCC. Whatever oxidation agent I get, unless it is not too oxidizing, it will end up giving a ketone, and ketones are stable product compared to your aldehydes. The aldehydes will get oxidized to acids, and this reaction is something you want to avoid if you want to get an aldehyde alone. The second way of synthesis is, this is oxidation of alcohols. This is also we have seen. We are going to call it dehydration. A 1 degree alcohol can give you RCHO. When you heat it with Cu or Ag, heat. We have seen this reaction also as part of reactions of alcohols. We can convert a 1 degree alcohol to aldehyde, a 2 degree alcohol to ketone, a 3 degree alcohol gives you alkene. We have seen this before in our alcohol lecture. So, there I specifically said copper can be used, silver can also be used. Here we call it oxidation, here we call it dehydration. The reason being, I have oxygen here, so it ends up using it and giving me the corresponding aldehyde. Here I do not use it in an oxygen atmosphere, I actually remove my hydrogen. So, removing a hydrogen is also going to work out to get the corresponding compound. So, these are two ways you can do from the corresponding alcohols. Aldehydes and ketones can also be synthesized from the corresponding hydrocarbons if the hydrocarbon has unsaturation in them. So, if there is a double bond or a triple bond, we can convert them to the corresponding aldehyde or ketone depending on what type of procedure we follow. And double bond can be converted into an aldehyde or a ketone depending on position of double bond through ozonolysis. We have seen ozonolysis before. It goes through one cyclic compound first and then it cleaves into one corresponding aldehyde or a ketone. What we want to remember is, depending on the carbons that has the double bond, you will end up with an aldehyde or a ketone. If this carbon, any of them have a hydrogen, it will give an aldehyde. If they do not have a hydrogen, it will give you a ketone. And if it is a cyclic aldehyde, if it is a cyclic alkene, it will give you cleavage of the double bond and it will be a single compound, that will be a dialdehyde or a ketone aldehyde or a diketone. For example, let us take this. So, ozonolysis cleaves this. Ozonolysis we went through in detail in hydrocarbon lecture. So, we will just do example here. If I cleave this, you can draw it as a same template. This becomes a C double bond O. This becomes a C double bond O. Because this carbon has no hydrogen, it becomes a ketone. This has hydrogen, one hydrogen, so it becomes an aldehyde. Now that we have seen the IUPAC naming, we can actually name this one. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, there is 7 carbons. So, we can do heptanal, because aldehyde is an important functional group, and carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, it is going to be 6 hogs of heptanal. Similarly, we can take any big compound. One that we have seen is benzene. On ozonolysis, we get 3 molecules of glyoxal. We have seen this also before. And one more we will do. If we have toluene here, we have seen this molecule before. We can break it here or break it here because this double bond actually does not exist here. It is a resonating structure. So we can break it here or break it here, and you guys can write the corresponding compounds. So now one thing we can see is this carbon is going to become a ketone no matter what, CH3CO. So why this is important is ozonolysis of this gives you a compound that is going to be CH3CO, meaning it can answer iodoform test. So this is one way of synthesizing here aldehyde and ketones. The next one that we have already seen, but I want to recap briefly from hydrocarbons again, an alkyne on hydration, be it oxymercuration, demercuration, hydroboration, oxidation, or acid catalyzed. Depending on the position of the triple bond, you will end up with a enol, which will tautomerize to give you aldehyde or a ketone depending on the position of the triple bond. For example, we take this compound, so it's a terminal triple bond. If you do hydroboration oxidation versus your first two, acid catalyzed hydration and oxymercuration demercuration, we are going to get this compound. Hydroboration oxidation will give you this compound. So this will tautomerize to the corresponding ketone. This will tautomerize to the corresponding aldehyde. So this is a way to synthesize. These are not commonly used as a ways to synthesize an aldehyde and ketone, but these are used in your reactions. This could be part of reaction where A gives you B, B gives you C, or D. It used to identify the position of the triple bond. One other way to synthesize aldehydes and ketones is from dihalides, particularly gem dihalides. For example, if we have a terminal dihalide, let's put it a R group. So this on hydrolysis will give you a gem diol, and we have seen this before in alcohol lecture. Gem diols are unstable. It will give you the corresponding carbonyl group, single arrow. So this will give you the corresponding aldehyde. The other way to do that is, if suppose I have a gem dihalide that is not a terminal but a non-terminal, I do the same, I end up getting a ketone. The same thing is going to happen here. A gem dihalide gives you a gem diol. Gem diols are unstable. It will eliminate a molecule of water to give you the corresponding ketone. So this is also something we have seen in your alkyl halides before. Just to notify you that this is also a way to synthesize aldehydes and ketones. These are not seen as way to synthesize aldehyde and ketone, but actually as reactions where aldehyde and ketones are products. The next set of reactions we are going to see is synthesis of aldehyde and ketones from acid chloride. So acid chloride is R C double bond O Cl. I can convert this to RCHO, an aldehyde, by using hydrogen with palladium or platinum housed on barium sulfate with little bit of sulfur or quinoline. Sometimes they might give you xylene here. Xylene is just a solvent, so it's not going to change much. Non-polar solvent. Here hydrogen with platinum or palladium is a strong catalyst. With hydrogen will give you the corresponding reduced product, but we don't want it to reduce all the way into the corresponding 1 degree alcohol. So we want to decrease the rate of reaction. So we house the palladium or platinum on barium sulfate. So when you house it on barium sulfate, the surface area decreases, so the reaction is much slower. But we want to make sure the aldehyde doesn't get converted to 1 degree alcohol. So hence what we do is we add catalytic poisoning, sulfur or quinoline. Most of the time barium sulfate is more than enough, but it is better to use sulfur or quinoline to make sure that the end product is not an alcohol, but it stops at the aldehyde stage. Here, instead of barium sulfate, they can also give you calcium carbonate as well. Both are serving the exact same purpose. Housed means basically you have the substrate as barium sulfate or calcium carbonate and the catalyst is housed on top of that. Now this, most of you would have seen it, this is called Rosenman reduction. Extremely simple, this is very similar to Lindlar catalyst. So we saw there Lindlar catalyst, alkene synthesis from alkynes. Lindlar catalyst gives you cis compound, syn addition. The same goes for here. The way to synthesize a ketone from an acid chloride. This reaction does not give you a ketone, but what we can do, we can synthesize ketone by reacting a Grignard's reagent RMgX with CdCl2, cadmium chloride. This will give you R2CD plus MgXCl. This is not that important. I get R2CD. Now I can react the R2CD with, let's call it R1 COCl, acid chloride. This will give you the corresponding ketone. So one alkyl group of the ketone comes from the acid chloride, the other one comes from the Grignard's reagent, meaning it gives me an option to synthesize the ketone of my choice. Now here a couple of things we want to know is, Grignard's reagent is an organometallic compound. An organometallic compound I have explained before, it's a organic compound in which there is a direct carbon metal bond. So this is organometallic compound. R2CD is also an organometallic compound. Both these reaction you are starting with acid chloride to give the corresponding aldehyde or a ketone. So we just saw how to convert your acid chloride into corresponding aldehyde or a ketone. Now we will try to synthesize aldehyde or a ketone from nitrile groups. Nitrile group is RC triple bond N. I can convert this to RCHO in two ways. First one is treatment with SnCl2 plus HCl. SnCl2 HCl together they give you SnCl4 plus 2 hydrogen, extremely strong reducing agent. So it converts the RCN into corresponding RCHO. Now it goes through formation of RCH double bond NH HCl, which on hydrolysis gives you RCHO. Now here I have a nitrile functional group C triple bond N. Here I have a C double bond N. A C double bond N is called an imine. So this is an imine functional group. This compound is called imine hydrochloride. The imine hydrochloride on hydrolysis basically breaks this bond. Okay, we don't need to worry about how this is happening. You can actually say that the H plus is going to go attack here and then formation of carbocation. We don't need that mechanism. Just know that this bond is broken and you get the RCHO plus NH4Cl. Now, what we can do, we can also convert the C triple bond N into corresponding RCHO using what is called Dibal H. Dibal H is a weak reducing agent. It's diisobutyl aluminum hydride. So aluminum hydride, aluminum has a valency of plus 3. So that's satisfied by one of them, H minus. H minus is a hydride and then diisobutyl. So isobutyl, there is 2 of them. Dibal H is extremely useful because not only it converts my RCN into RCHO, it can also be used when this corresponding molecule R group has a double bond. For example, let's say there is a double bond in this molecule and there is CN. We can convert this to corresponding compound, whereas this reaction, by the way, this is called Stephan reaction. In Stephan reaction, we can't do this because this is a strong reducing agent. It will also try to attack my double bond, whereas my Dibal H leaves my double bond alone. So hence it is a useful reagent. You don't have the mechanism for this one, just know that it's a hydride donor. The H minus will come and attack the C double bond O. Now the H minus is always a very good reducing agent whenever there is a C double bond O. Lithium aluminum hydride, sodium borohydride, all of them are hydrides. Similarly, this is a hydride. Hydrides attack a C double bond O but does not attack a C double bond C, because C double bond C is not that polar, whereas C double bond O is polar. Example, lithium aluminum hydride and sodium borohydride can reduce your ketones and aldehyde, but they cannot reduce your double bond. Similarly, this cannot attack a double bond, but it can attack a C triple bond N, which is also a polar functional group. So we saw how to convert a nitrile functional group into an aldehyde. We will convert into ketone now. First step is reacting this with a Grignard's reagent or MgX. So one thing you want to know about Grignard's reagent is Grignard's reagent is R MgX. So this is delta minus, this is delta plus. Here this is delta plus, delta minus, because more electronegative nitrogen, less electronegative carbon, more electronegative carbon, less electronegative metal atom. So the delta minus will attack the delta plus and delta minus gets attached. So what you end up forming is RC R1 or R prime double bond N MgX. This on hydrolysis, it's an imine functional group again. On hydrolysis, it gives you the corresponding ketone. Now, the two syntheses we saw are extremely simple. You want to remember them in the same order. Acid chloride, your Rosenbaum reduction followed by cadmium chloride. Rosenbaum gives you aldehyde, cadmium chloride gives you ketone. Similarly, next you want to remember is RCN, Stephan reaction, and diol H gives you aldehyde, Grignard's reagent gives you corresponding ketone. Remember it this way, so it's much easier to remember them in a given order. Needless to say, one of the ways of synthesizing a ketone in particular is Friedel-Crafts acylation reaction. We have seen Friedel-Crafts acylation before. You have a benzene or benzene substrate and you can treat it with acyl chloride or anhydride, acyl anhydride. With the corresponding Lewis acid, you get the corresponding acylated product. We will look into synthesis of benzaldehyde specifically from toluene. So there are three ways to synthesize, and remember them in this order so you don't have to worry about forgetting it. So when I have toluene, I want to convert it into benzaldehyde. Couple of things we want to know is there is no change in your number of carbons, so it is not a step up or step down reaction, and there are three different ways of synthesis. And the first one is Ettard reaction of toluene or substituted toluene. So I can have some other substitution also here, it still works. The corresponding, let's say there is a chlorine here, the chlorine comes here. Ettard reaction, you treat it with corresponding with chromyl chloride, CrO2, Cl2. This is chromyl chloride. So when you treat with chromyl chloride, the first compound that you end up forming CH, O, CrOH, Cl2. You want to remember this compound, this can come as a question itself. The things that you want to remember this is very simple. The chromium is attached to two oxygens and two chlorines. So, two chlorines are still intact. One of the oxygen ends up combining with the carbon, the other oxygen becomes OH. This on hydrolysis gives you or benzaldehyde. This particular compound, what all you want to know is Ettard reaction goes through a chromium complex. You want to remember that. And second thing you want to remember is the chromium is attached to oxygen, chlorine and oxygen. It is not attached to carbon directly. So this is not an organometallic compound. Unlike a Grignard's reagent or the cadmium compound we saw, this is not an organic metallic compound. The next we can do is same toluene on treatment with CrO3 and anhydride. This can be done in a non-polar solvent. Solvent is not all that important for you guys. Now, similar chromium compound except it is chromic oxide. When you react, you get an intermediate compound. When I say intermediate, it's not a typical intermediate, it is stable. C O C H O C double bond O CH3 twice. You want to remember this compound as well because they could give it as what is the intermediate in a reaction. They could give you 4 different compounds. This on hydrolysis with heat gives you benzaldehyde. Now what you want to remember here is this is a chromium complex, this is not a chromium complex. CrO3 is present but it is not a chromium complex. You want to remember the difference between the two. The next way to synthesize benzaldehyde from toluene is chlorination. When we do chlorination, when you do without light, when you do in presence of a Lewis acid, what will happen? The Lewis acid will try to generate an electrophile Cl plus, and the Cl plus will try to find the position where there is a lot of electrons. So it will try to go to the ortho and para position. You will end up doing an electrophilic aromatic substitution product, chlorotoluene. But because I use a H nu Cl2, this goes through a free radical mechanism. The free radical is most stable is right here, benzylic free radical. So it will give you a compound CHCl2, chloro-derivative of toluene. Now how do you name the compound? So if you had a name, it will be methane derivative. It will be dichlorophenyl methane. Now what I can do is, this is a gem dichloride. Gem dichloride we just saw right now, we can do hydrolysis to give you gem diol. Gem diols are unstable, it will give you the corresponding carbonyl compound. In our case, it will give you benzaldehyde. So these are the 3 ways in which you can synthesize benzaldehyde from toluene, and you want to remember in the same order: ethyl reaction, chromium. The next is also a chromium reaction but not a chromium complex. Third one is extremely simple. This is just from your alkane knowledge. In alkanes we do H nu Cl2. Similarly we do, this is an alkane with just the aromatic side part, we get the corresponding benzaldehyde. Now we saw synthesis of benzaldehyde from toluene. There is one more way to synthesize benzaldehyde. This is not from toluene, this is starting from benzene itself. So when you see benzene getting converted to benzaldehyde, meaning there is addition of 1 carbon, step up reaction, what we can do is we can use a carbon source CO with HCl. Benzene, a carbon source CO with HCl. Now the carbonyl is not going to go and attack to the ring right away because the ring takes an electrophilic aromatic substitution, but this is not a strong electrophile. So we want a Lewis acid. We can use anhydrous AlCl3, CuCl2, we get benzaldehyde. This is Gattermann-Cox synthesis. It's extremely straightforward. Benzene is available in plenty, so we can easily convert it to benzaldehyde, and benzaldehyde can be converted into whatever compound we want. Now this you want to remember, it's a name reaction, and you want to remember that it happens only in presence of a Lewis acid. The last reaction we are going to see, this is standalone for synthesizing aldehyde. We can use the same benzene. We can use again anhydrous AlCl3. We can get a ketone. So that means I need a RCO backbone. What we can do, RCOX. Friedel-Crafts acylation. So this is something we have seen so many times. If it is RX, it is alkylation. RCOX, it is acylation. Purpose of anhydrous AlCl3 is to generate the electrophile, and the electrophile here is RCO plus. This will go and attack the benzene ring. If I take toluene, corresponding compound you will get. If you take phenol, you get the corresponding para product greater than ortho, much greater than meta. Again, Friedel-Crafts acylation and alkylation are not possible by aniline, even though the aniline ring is extremely electron rich, is much more rich than your benzene. For Friedel-Crafts alkylation acylation, we can say in terms of electron density in the ring, I want to stress this point, your aniline is much greater than phenol because plus R minus I, but the plus R of NH2 is higher. Phenol is greater than ether, we saw it in last lecture. Ether plus R is high, but the orientation of the electron is not favorable. Ether, then we can say toluene greater than benzene. Toluene is hyperconjugation. But when it comes to Friedel-Crafts, this order obeys well, but this does not undergo Friedel-Crafts because this forms an Lewis acid Lewis base adduct. We have seen this before, just make sure you remember this.